Hello everyone and welcome to this special event. Thank you so much for joining. I'm Jacob, Head of Sales for EMEA and APAC at BCN3D. You join me today in the BCN3D factory line. We've got some really exciting news to share with you, so whilst I go through all of the details, I encourage you to use the online chat bot to ask questions. One of my colleagues will get back to you as soon as possible. This month marks 11 years of BCN3D. Throughout that time, we're proud to say that we've shipped over 10,000 units worldwide across more than 100 points of sale. We've also been the pioneers in developing two 3D printing technologies, IDEX and VLM. Here's a video that shows just some of the applications that our customers are using with BCN3D printers. Firstly, we want to let you know about some updates to the BCN3D Epsilon line of 3D printers. We've been working on the hardware, the software, and the print quality. On the hardware side of things, we released the new generation of the Epsilon. The new generation printers feature a new frame, updated electronics, and improvements to the auto calibration procedures. On the software side of things, we've been working on both Stratos and the firmware. In Stratos, we've released a series of updates, and in the firmware side of things, we've introduced new features such as first layer live adjustment. Finally, in print quality, we've improved massively existing printing profiles for BCN3D filaments, as well as introduced the Open Filament Network, which is a platform that allows us to work directly with filament manufacturers to introduce printing profiles for niche materials directly into Stratos, unlocking more material options for Epsilon users. Despite all of those improvements that I just mentioned to the Epsilon line, today we're delighted to announce a new product for Epsilon, a flexible build platform. The flexible build platform will allow customers to remove prints after printing even faster. And most importantly, the flexible build platform upgrade kit will be available to all Epsilon users, both Gen 1 and Gen 2, including as well Sigma D25 customers. On top of that, we're also planning to launch Stratos 2.0. Stratos 2.0 runs from the Cura V5 engine, unlocking new features, an improved UI, and an overall more efficient experience. Both Stratos 2.0 and the flexible build platform will be available from September. Combining all of the improvements that we made to hardware, software, and print quality, together with the new features of the flexible build platform, Epsilon has never been a stronger proposition. Together with the slicing software, the BCN3D Cloud, BCN3D filaments, the packs of materials, the Epsilon offers the ultimate end-to-end solution. The value propositions of the Epsilon series have never been clearer. IDEX, a large printing capacity, and now even more powerful printing profiles to produce parts faster and with a better quality surface finish. Let's talk about the next steps for BCN3D. We can see from the data from our customers that the most commonly sold and purchased printer from BCN3D is the W50 Smart Cabinet Bundle. This is the solution that has the most production capacity and the biggest printing chamber. This data shows that customers are ready to take that next step. And that next step is an industrial 3D printer. Industrial 3D printing is a huge segment and involves many different types of 3D printers. So in order for us to create a new product, we had to fully understand the market. So we performed some deep market research. We saw that there are many different types of heated chamber filament printers on the market. We saw a big split between those printers with a heated chamber above 100 degrees and those below 100 degrees. And the trend was that those printers with the chamber of above 100 degrees tend to be a lot more expensive. And the reason is that those electronic components inside that printer are a lot more expensive to purchase. Printers with a chamber temperature above 100 degrees generally are made to print ultra polymers PEEK and ULTEM, very niche applications. We want to put our focus into a printer which is focused on more application spread, a printer with a chamber temperature lower than 100 degrees and more accessible for customers. There's two types of customers in this sector. One is the customers that tend to buy the closed material platform solutions, which offer more reliability and repeatability. And the other is the customer that buys an open platform system for more material flexibility and freedom to create their own printing profiles. We think there's a big gap in the market here for a printer that can satisfy both types of customers in ultimate repeatability and reliability, but also the flexibility to use their own material profiles. So, after taking in all of this information from the market research, we came up with a brief for our new printer. Firstly, the product needs to be repeatable. It needs to be producing parts for customers that just want results. Secondly, we want to remain an open material platform and offer a heated chamber. This will allow customers who want to experiment with materials the freedom to do so. And finally, it was super important to take on feedback from Epsilon customers based on their experience using the Epsilon line. So, with all of those things combined, I'm happy to share with you BCN3D's new industrial 3D printer. So here it is, the BCN3D Omega I60, designed from the ground up for use on the factory floor. Featuring a huge build volume of 60 litres, an active heated chamber, a material operating system that's designed to control humidity and temperature, a brand new architecture platform, as well as new kinematics, designed for ultra precision and reliability. We're now able to print big parts in technical materials even faster. Let's take a deep dive into some of the technical specifications of Omega I60. Starting with the kinematics. A brand new HackXY platform specifically designed with IDEX in mind, offering absolute precision and repeatability on every single print. The new extrusion system allows IDEX to now work even faster and more precisely, thanks to the static X motor, which is no longer being moved by the rails. The new powerful extrusion system features 1.75mm direct drive extrusion. We're also using E3D Revo hot ends, which means that nozzle changes can now take place in a matter of seconds, meaning even more reduced downtime on the printer. Omega i60 is high-speed ready. We listened to customers and we delivered a platform which is capable of reaching those high speeds. Right now we're printing at 300mm per second, thanks to the new architecture, the new electronics, and the fact that the accelerometer required for input shaping calibration is built into Omega. XY calibration has been improved. We now have the XY calibration hole located in a dedicated calibration area. This means that we're no longer sacrificing precious build platform space, and the XY calibration is now even more precise. Omega i60 has a 60 litre build volume. To be precise, that's 450mm by 300mm by 450mm. This means we can produce technical parts at a huge scale. And Omega i60 features an active heated chamber. This means that we can give absolute reliability on the most technical materials, printing at scale. The material operating system will allow you to control not only the humidity, but also the temperature. This has two key advantages. The first being the ability to recover compromised material, and the second being the ability to preheat your filament before starting a print. This is even more important with those absolute technical materials that have higher heat deflection temperatures. The material operating system also allows you to automatically load and unload filament. So when your print job has run out of filament halfway through, you don't have to be there. The machine will automatically change that filament for you. As well as those key features we just took a look at, Omega I60 features a range of other important features. Firstly, the built-in camera. This can be used for monitoring in print through the cloud. Secondly, we have a new 7-inch capacitive touchscreen, which makes using the printer even more intuitive. Omega I60 features a flexible build plate, which makes removing print jobs so much quicker. We also have an uninterruptible power supply in the Omega I60. This means that even with a short power outage, that long print won't be sacrificed. Omega I60 also features a range of safety features too. Firstly, we have the and-on light on the top of the machine, which will tell you the status of the print job. The door has a safety pause feature, and we also have an emergency stop button. So this machine is really built for the factory floor. On top of those safety features, we also have the heparin carbon filter from the Epsilon in the Omega 2. Let's take a closer look at Omega. Let's jump to applications and materials and discuss the portfolio of filaments that we put together to go with Omega I60. We had one thing in mind when we were selecting our portfolio, and that was which verticals were really suited to Omega I60. These are tooling, jigs and fixtures, short-run production, masking, and large prototyping, just to name a few. So with this in mind, we've put together a selection of materials that we think will really help customers with these verticals. Firstly, Omega Proto. This material is a custom formulation that we've spent time developing with a filament manufacturer specifically for Omega I60. Omega Proto is the go-to material for prototyping, jigs and fixtures, low load bearing alignment guides and drill guides. Omega Proto has a smooth matte black surface finish. It has isotropic properties, which means that comparing it to PLA and PETG, the properties in the Z are almost as good as the properties in the X and Y. This means that it's not just good for basic prototyping, but it's also good for more functional prototyping. Omega Proto will be the go-to material for Omega I60. Secondly, we have Omega Impact ASA. This material has fantastic UV resistance, making it perfect for end-use parts, specifically parts that will be used outdoors in the sunshine where UV resistance is required. Omega Impact ASA is also extremely durable, making it ideal for tooling that requires repetitive loading. Moving on, we have Omega Resistant Nylon. Omega Resistant Nylon is chemical, wear and solvent resistant, meaning that it's perfect for the factory floor where you'll typically find materials like acetal and Delrin. Omega Resistant Nylon is a drop-in replacement for those types of materials. And finally, we have Omega Tooling CF. Omega Tooling CF on the Omega I60 will be producing parts for metal replacement, metal forming dies and tools, and also end-use parts that require maximum strength. To go with all of these materials, we have a breakaway support material, which is compatible with every single one of the materials that I just mentioned, meaning you don't have to wait to dissolve supports unnecessarily when the geometry doesn't require it. You can simply break away the supports and put the part to use right away. There are 3 clear pathways for customers when they choose which material they want to print with their Omega I60. Firstly, there's BCN3D filaments. This includes all of the materials that we just discussed, along with some new filaments that we have under development and plan to release later on. BCN3D filaments are specifically designed and formulated to achieve maximum printability on the Omega I60. Secondly, there's the open filament network. This is where BCN3D are working directly with material manufacturers to create printing profiles for the Omega I60. These materials will be specialist, designed to unlock niche applications. These special materials could include ESD materials, flame retardant, or food safe materials. And finally, we have custom materials. Omega I60 is an open material platform. We won't stop customers from using custom materials and developing their own printing profiles. So, now that we've shown you Omega I60, we've gone into detail on some of the specifications and we've told you which materials we'll be launching with the printer. Let's go into some more detail on some other topics. Starting with the price. Omega I60 will be available for less than €20,000 and shipping will begin on the 15th of September. So just to remind you, Omega I60 has been developed from the ground up specifically for the factory floor. Its new architecture means that we can print parts ultra reliably and with great repeatability. The new motion system, the new electronics, and the accelerometer means that we can produce parts even faster. And the build volume means that we can print even bigger parts. And thanks to the heated chamber, those parts will now be stronger too. Thanks to these features, applications such as tooling, jigs and fixtures, and large-scale prototypes are perfect for Omega I60. When we compare Omega I60 to other 3D printers in the same segment, we can see that Omega I60 has the biggest printing capacity of 60 litres. But not only does it have the biggest printing capacity, it also has the best price per litre. On top of that, Omega I60 is the only platform to offer both high-speed 3D printing and IDEX in a single 3D printing solution. So when we take a look at our portfolio today, we can see now that with the Omega I60, we have a much more industrial portfolio. Starting with the Epsilon W27, the W50, and then moving up to the Epsilon W50 and W27 with the smart cabinet combination, the Omega I60 now offers more industrial features, such as filament recovery, the active heated printing chamber, a bigger printing chamber, and also more safety features. Omega I60 is the flagship product from BCN3D, but the Epsilon line still has huge value, especially after the series of updates we've provided it throughout the last year. If you want big parts, big production, high speed, and maximum part performance, then look no further than the BCN3D Omega I60. But the Epsilon still provides huge value, especially in material flexibility and offering big parts. So, after hearing everything in today's event, I'm sure you have some more questions about the capabilities of Omega I60. This is why we're launching the Omega Launchpad program. We're inviting you to go to our website and register to be contacted by one of our specialists so that we can hear more about your application and tell you how you can utilize Omega I60. So, this brings us to the end of the event. Thank you so much for tuning in for this monumental day for BCN3D. BCN3D Omega I60 has been in development for years, and the team have been working extremely hard to develop this printer and bring it to the market. We invite you all to go to our website and sign up for the Omega Launchpad program, and we can't wait to speak to you and hear how you plan to use this printer. Thank you for tuning in.